think, the game it's so cinematic and did such a brilliant job of telling its story that we didn't feel as if we wanted to do a retread of the story that was already told so brilliantly.
How many more deaths do you have in you?
Nobody's made it past 13 nights.
I'm Gary Dauberman. I'm a writer and producer on Until Dawn.
David F. Sandberg, director and producer on Until Dawn.
A lot of people will know the video game. It's a very cinematic video game. People often refer to it as an interactive horror movie. What were the challenges when it came to adapting that?
It's a lot of game. It was a lot of game to get into a 2 hour movie, and I think the game it's so cinematic and did such a brilliant job of telling its story that we didn't feel as if we wanted to do a retread of the story that was already told so brilliantly. So the challenge was, okay, how can we expand the lore of the game? How can we expand the world of the game? And what story were we going to tell that would help, support all that? And what characters were we going to bring from the game into our story? And that's where we landed on Dr. Hill, who was a favorite character of mine personally, and just thought there was a lot of story to tell with him. So
I think what Gary and Blair did with the script was brilliant, and because yeah, like he said, they didn't try and just do this game that already was done so brilliantly, almost like a movie. And their script is what made me go like, hell yeah, I want to do this movie because it's like it honored the game, but it also, you know, still had the same vibe of the game with this sort of restarting of the night. Because then it's kind of like a game where you're replaying it and making different choices and things like that. And this was a chance for me to do all these different horror genres in one movie. And I've been longing to do horror for a few years now because I've been busy with like Shazam movies, and I've just been wanting to do like a full-on practical effects, horror extravaganza, and I got to do that with this movie.
That's a fun one. That one was crazy. They put like a whole fake neck and cheek on me, and like the worm was like on a cord inside, and there was someone crouched next to my chair, like pressing a button for the worm to move, so I could feel it. And but it's all practical effects, so it was a worm moving in my cheek, and Belmont had to step away.
Yeah, it's
they
really cool.
they like made it look wet. It was amazing. It was pretty disgusting. But I think that this movie made me a lot less squeamish or horror.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
The time loop and everything resetting that's in the movie, and of course the game was famous for the sort of choose your own adventure mechanic where the choices dictated what happened in the game. Did you ever explore bringing that to the movie adaptation? Because I must admit, I'm not a professional screenwriter, but I was thinking about how you might do that, and I came up short. Was that something you looked at, or was it quite an early decision to go in this slightly different direction that you have?
yeah, this was a way to sort of contain it, and so we wouldn't have a movie of the whole characters as kind of just suddenly they split up, and then for the rest of the movie they're split up, or when they so. It was a very early decision. I mean, really early conversation in terms of how we were going to do it. And it took a little while to get there. But we knew if we were going to do the game mechanic of really starting the night over, we didn't want it to feel repetitive in any way. And also wanted to really lean into all the different subgenres of horror that the game leaned into and add a few of our own. So that's where the idea of like every night is a new nightmare. Every night is our characters are dropped into a different horror movie. We landed on that and, just had a blast doing it.
Yeah. I mean, how do you even do that in a theatrical movie? You'd have to do like Clue or something where you have like different endings in different theaters, but I hate that kind of stuff. I want like I want a movie to be like one definitive version. That's like, I mean, it's always like, even with like Blade Runner, where there's like 5 different cuts. Well, oh, which one do I watch? Like, I want like, no, this is the movie. Here it is.
And did you have much input or involvement with Sony and Supermassive Games, the developers, when you were making the movie?
Yeah, I had a lot of conversations with them early on with the developers about where they were at with the game, where they ideas about where they wanted to take, if they were going to do another game, where they were going to take their installment, what lore they were exploring when it came to the characters and the overarching myths and lore. So yeah, I had a lot of dialogue with them, and they were super helpful, and it was really really informative and really helped grease our creative wheels on our end.
How do you think the movie will resonate with fans of the game? And are there elements you think they'll particularly connect with or be surprised by?
I think that like there is certain elements that are kind of like genuinely accurately represented in the film. Although it's a different storyline, it's in the same universe, right? And I think that like one of the ways that like is kind of fun is that like our characters are all kind of, you know how like in the game there's like those little things where it's like it says like the little descriptions of like whatever, like, oh, okay, this person is this and this person is this. I feel like our characters are all kind of like that. Like we all have our little quirks and like our little things.
Yeah.
And I think that that is something that's like a really faithful adaptation of like all the characters are different and fun. And I think that also like just how outrageous everything is in the film is like so fun, and like I think that that will be like a faithful adaptation, like or like gamers will really appreciate that as well.
Yeah, I think because the characters in the video game are so rich and full of life and like really detailed and their relationships are so
Yeah,
detailed. I hope and I think, but I mostly hope that fans will of the video game will connect to the friendships and the relationships
yeah,
and the like you said, the characters, because that's one of the things that makes Until Dawn the game so amazing is that you're really invested in these people and these characters, and I hope that it feels somewhat similar in the film that you can kind of connect to this friend group.
yeah.
So one unique connection between the game and the movie is the iconic Peter Stormare, of course. But Rami Malek and Hayden Panettiere also played key roles in the game. Did you have a chance to connect with them at all while working on the film?
Dude, I wish.
Oh,
What?
yeah.
That was cool, but no, we didn't get to meet them. At least I didn't. You didn't get.
I did not
No,
either.
no, we didn't get to meet them. But it would have been really cool if we did.
Yeah, but Peter's incredible.
Yeah,
I had quite a bit with him, and we spent a lot of time together, and he's incredible. He's a really
and
like
so committed. So
committed.
committed. Like I love that about him. He's just so committed and so himself. And like when he shows up on set, he's ready to work. Like I love that about him.
Yeah, and he also like it was a really grueling shoot, and I had been with Michael and my three other co-stars the whole time, and so it was kind of like a really fresh face. And we had a scene together that actually got cut, but it was quite a violent scene, and I was very like scared to like do anything wrong, and he was really committed to having fun and like making it silly and enjoying ourselves. And I think he just allowed stunts to be not so serious in a way that was very much appreciated. So I love him.
This, with particular regard to the developer Supermassive, the games they make, as we said, they're so cinematic, and I just wonder
Oh
whether
yeah.
it made the dialogue a bit easier. They might be coming from more of a place of understanding
Well,
from
I think the
working with
developers, they're
actors.
just great storytellers, so
Yeah,
that really helped, on that.
yeah.
And then once, yeah, and then we got to pitch them our ideas, and they were excited by them, and then yeah, and then we went to script, and then once we got the script, David, to all our great fortune, responded favorably to it. So
With it being a video game property, obviously there's a big fan base. Some of them are very passionate, and I know there was some disappointment when people saw the film wasn't just going to be a retread of the game story from the trailer. How did you feel about that reaction on your side?
I'm used to it, having done two superhero comic book movies. That there's always like very passionate fans who have very specific ideas. But I can't imagine that people would have been happy if it had been sort of a copy of the game either, where it's like, well, that's not the same. Like, oh, they changed this, and also like, well, what ending do you pick, and all these things. So I think this was really the right way to go, because this way you get more Until Dawn rather than like the same Until Dawn that we've already played and we've already seen. So it's an expansion of the universe that was established in the game. Um, but yeah, I mean, yeah, somewhat people are always going to have opinions. I've seen people who are upset that there's no snow in the movie. Like, apparently that was the most important thing, like it's not Until Dawn if it's not snow. And, it's like, and to me, it's like, well, it can still, I still enjoyed Die Hard 3, even though it was not Christmas and it was in New York instead of LA, like it can,